Okay, this is like the millionth take. Okay, so no more new takes. Back at the start of the new year, I started taking salsa lessons, thanks to a friend's recommendation. I had never taken dance lessons before, but I was at a time in my life where I was looking for something new, something a little bit outside of my comfort zone, and luckily, salsa fit that description. Life has a weird way of getting monotonous a lot for me. I find myself consistently seeking new experiences, novelty, and I would say salsa has been that for me. I've been taking classes now for 2 months, 8 total classes. We're at the end of February. I'm going to be taking another month of classes in March. And the goal of these classes, says the instructors, is for us to go to social dances. And that's what I did last night, thanks to that same friend's recommendation again. This was quite the experience for me. I was a little scared anticipating it, but honestly, I wasn't super nervous going into it. My biggest fear was embarrassing myself because I'm pretty much a total beginner. Embarrassing myself with somebody who's seasoned, that's what I was worried about. And that did happen, which we'll get into a little later, or I think it seemingly happened. But I also knew that this would be a good growing experience for me. And after all, it makes sense to apply what you've learned from the lessons and practice into the actual setting, right? So last night was a very memorable experience for me. First social dance, well, second social dance technically that I've ever been to. I went to a contra dance a few weeks ago. But this was the first social dance related to the salsa classes I'm taking. And it started at 8 o'clock. I got there a little bit early to settle in. And the instructors offered a short lesson at the beginning for 3 different styles, or 2 different styles. I forget. But there's bachata, kizomba, I think that's how you pronounce it. And I want to say there was a third style, and I don't think it was salsa. I don't think we learned salsa moves last night. But anyway, at the start of the lesson, we rotated different partners, and there was a mixture of beginners, intermediates, and probably a couple advanced people, and that helped me ease into the evening a little bit, seeing other beginners, and there were a few familiar faces from my lessons there that helped me settle in. One particular person, there was a girl actually in my Monday class who showed up, and she was one of my partners while we were taking the intro lesson, and we had really good chemistry, which was nice, helped calm me down a bit, and kind of gave me enough momentum going into the dance to ask a few people. When the dance started, I decided to ask this other girl that had been there in the beginning, and we had really good chemistry, it felt like. And we danced for a while, and I was pretty bad. I was messing up a lot, and she wasn't as much, but we were both finding humor in the situation, and we made some conversation, and it went well. And to be honest, if I had left after that first dance, I would have been happy. But the second girl I danced with was like, we had even stronger chemistry. And funny, my friend actually pushed me to ask this person to dance. And I was looking at it now, I'm surprised at how well it went. Because obviously, as I was saying, I completely blanked when salsa songs played over the speaker. I completely blanked on the moves because my brain was already I think my brain was just overloaded. And with the lessons at the start that I had learned of different styles, and I think I was not sharp. But this girl was extremely nice, and she even taught me some moves. I attempted to show her a few different moves, and we were just vibing for, I don't know, it's 10-20 minutes, maybe longer, maybe shorter. It felt like a pretty long time, and it was felt like an extremely reciprocal interaction, and that just made me feel really good. It's something that I feel like I've been lacking or missing from my life recently, and it was encouraging to know that there are some people who will just match your energy. So after that dance, I probably really should have just gone home. It would have ended the evening on a super high. But I lingered. And it's funny because looking at it now, I was aware of the fact that I was pretty fulfilled, that my cup was pretty full. But I decided to stay, and I asked a few more people to dance. And two of the people I asked to dance, it just kind of went meh. Like, there's not really a spark, but it's not super repulsive either. And then there was this girl at the end, the last girl I asked to dance, which that was memorable for different reasons. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in this situation, but have you ever had somebody look at you and you could just feel that they didn't like what they saw? So that's what it felt like with this girl. I could just tell from the get-go that she didn't want to be there. And I don't want to assume anything. I don't know what was going on in her head. But immediately, I was trying to find a way to get out of the situation. I tried to make a conversation with her. I asked her for her name, and I asked her if she had been to other social nights before, social dances. And I was just messing up my moves too. I was not in time. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I even asked her what genre the song was when I started. And that probably wasn't a great way to kick things off, but she didn't reciprocate at all. There was like no chemistry, and I remember after that, I actually stopped the dance inadvertently before the song ended. I didn't actually know that the song was over or continuing, but it got to a point in the song where I felt like I should probably abort. It was probably the best thing for both of us. That was that was kind of hard for me, and it definitely stung a bit. I was thinking about that a lot on the drive home. That feeling of rejection hurts, and so it's weird when a negative thing happens, or a thing that you perceive as negative. You kind of focus on that over the positives. As I mentioned earlier, I had 3 really good interactions with, or 3 really nice dances prior with people who I felt like I had pretty strong chemistry with. But this rejection moment was sticking in my head. Anyways, So it was a little bit difficult to sleep last night, partially because I think there's just my nervous system got hit with a lot. There's a lot of social interaction, a lot of music, and me kind of entering in this new arena, having to take these little risks, initiating, these dances with these women, and kind of having to put myself out there and facing the possibility of rejection. But this brings me to the main point of my video. And dancing with strangers is a really good representation of the fact that you won't vibe with everybody. And I know we all kind of know this on an intuitive level, but for me at least, dancing really makes that clear. Last night, with a few people I connected with very well, there was very strong reciprocity. There were a few people that were just kind of middle of the road, neutral, and then a select few that where the interaction felt like almost cold, or they just felt so closed off, and it's not a great feeling when feeling other people closed off to you. And I'm someone who's, I think, pretty sensitive to other people's energies and vibes, and I don't like when people are closed off. It kind of hurts a little bit. And is it really that difficult to at least try to act like you're not having a terrible time? Anyways, I had written a bunch of notes this morning, and hopefully I covered everything. But yeah, I wanted to make this video because this was a pretty memorable evening last night compared to the last few months, which have been relatively status quo and a little flat, to be honest. But this is just how life goes, and this is normal for social dances. A couple people, you might dance very well with. Some people you won't dance well at all with, and there'll be a lot of just neutral and meh. But overall, I feel pretty encouraged about this experience. Especially as somebody who hasn't really been involved in a serious romantic thing in several years, and haven't gone on a date in a couple years. This was something that was necessary for me to try and regain that muscle. And it was encouraging to know that there are people out there, despite my absence from the game. There are people out there who will see me for who I am and who will like me for who I am. And that I don't have to worry too much. Out of the three people who I felt like I had chemistry with, I didn't initiate any further contact. I didn't ask for numbers. I just let it be what it was, and I think that was the right move. So that's all I have to say. Social dance experience was fun. I think I would give it a 7 or 8 out of 10. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching if you watched this far, and guess I'll see you in another video, whenever that will be.